I think I'm very lucky as a touring musician. I think sometimes, you know, bands or musicians maybe get a chance to tour kind of specific areas again and again. Actually, one of the luckiest things for myself is that I've been able to tour pretty much the world. So I remember a particularly brilliant trip to New Zealand, which was amazing. I loved New Zealand. I thought it was so beautiful, and it was so far away. It really felt like we were kind of on tour miles away, in this beautiful place, very otherworldly, and amazing food and amazing countryside. I loved touring Japan. Japan is one of my favourite countries. It's so different, it's so interesting. The food is amazing. The people are so warm and polite, and the shopping is great. It's just a very interesting country. I love touring America because the bus is great. There's always a party somewhere, and the journeys are always on the bus. You don't have to get too many planes. I love Vancouver. Vancouver's a great place, just fun and amazing. And then, of course, we have just touring Europe. I mean, I've travelled in Europe a lot anyway. I've been lucky to do that apart from touring. But there's nothing like doing a tour of Europe and waking up one day in Rome and waking up another day in Barcelona and another day in Vienna. I mean, that really is the dream, really. It was just outside of Malmesbury. I used to work in this petrol station, and I used to have to open up the pumps on a Sunday morning at kind of 7 a.m. after I'd probably been out the night before, very, very tired. And it was a very quiet petrol station, so I used to kind of read a lot and kind of just eat kind of sausage rolls and kind of Cornish pasties. It was fun, it was alright. I mean, I used to get about $3.50 an hour or something. It's a Saturday, Sunday job. It was alright. Would I still be doing it if I hadn't been discovered in music? I hope not. I mean, it was alright, there was nothing wrong with that job, but put it this way, I don't think I could still be doing that. And maybe if I wasn't still doing that, if I was still doing that, then I'd probably have some kind of night job as a rent boy or something. I don't know, maybe. Can I say that? I've been lucky enough to play at the Hollywood Bowl 3 times now. It's such an amazing venue, the Hollywood Bowl. First of all, because it's permanently outside. You couldn't have that in England. But it's just, it's such a beautiful kind of space. The stage itself is really kind of almost like an Art Deco kind of structure, and the seats are all kind of carved into the back of the rock behind it. And it just looks, it's one of those venues that when you stand on the stage, you look out to the audience, it kind of looks as beautiful as if you were in the audience looking at the stage. And it's such a historic venue. You know, everyone's played with the Beatles, Hendrix, Sinatra. It's incredible. So I've got another chance to play a gig there this year. So it seems to be becoming a regular thing. I like that residency, the Hollywood Bowl. I like that. It's an amazing place. I love it. Come and see the show if you've not been before. It's amazing. Jamie's favourite kind of beer, a lot of people probably know this already because I normally walk on stage with a can of it in my hand because it's good for the vocal cords, you see, that's what I say to myself. I love Guinness. I'm a huge fan of Guinness, and we have it on our rider. We have a case of Guinness on our rider because I like it, a lot of people in the crew like it, some people in the band like it, and it always gets drunk because it's good for you as well. So yeah, it's definitely Guinness. Well, but I am partial to a good cold glass of lager, cold pint of lager as well sometimes. Thank you. Yeah, the Golden Globes. That was amazing. It was funny that song came about. The song for this film, Grace Is Gone, came about by accident. I was doing a demo for someone else, and it was Clint who actually heard the demo, ended up liking it so much, thought he'd use it in the film, my original demo, and that was amazing. And through that, I've developed a relationship with Clint. I got to meet him on set and hang out with him and have a good chat to him about music. So he's actually yes, he's hopefully he's on board to do something with myself in the future. But already he's asked me to play at the Monterey Jazz Festival this year, which is great. He's a really interesting guy and he loves music. So yeah, I would say Clint's in my phone book and he's a new friend of mine. I thought what Radiohead did was really interesting, and it's obviously they have the power to do that because they're at the end of their kind of cycle of albums on their contract for their record company and stuff. I don't think at this stage of my career it would make a lot of sense for me to do that because I'm still signed to Universal. I have albums to make for them on the contract, and I have a really good relationship with Universal. They work well for me, and hopefully I work well for them. So it's a relationship that works. So there'd be no point in kind of putting an end to that at the moment. But I do think it's interesting, the distribution of music, the way it's kind of going forward is interesting, and we have to start thinking of ways of creating stories and making kind of the consumption of music exciting again, because music's still exciting and people love listening to it, but just I think we're all a bit confused about the ways in which we get hold of it and the ways we listen to it still. So it's interesting what Radiohead did, but I think more to the point with that whole Radiohead thing is that the album was so good. They could have carved it onto a piece of wood, and it still would have been a great record, and it would have made the impact that it did. The fact that it was free, it doesn't matter if it being a shit album, then I don't think it would have made any difference. But that's an interesting way to think about music these days.